Hey everyone, it's Mr. Will, your Viceroy of Very Good Arts Awards, and this is a video on how to answer the questions for your Arts Skillshare plan. So by the end we'll put a really solid plan for our Skillshare together. Question 1 says, what art skill would you like to share? Please explain why. And like we said in the introductory video, it could be anything in the arts that you wish to pass on to somebody else. You don't have to be a master of this particular art skill as long as you have a good reason for wanting to share it. So you could share something that you've got a lot of experience in and feel really confident to share. That could be your reason why. Or it could be something you just learned for your Part A and you're that excited you just want to share that with somebody. And that would be your reason why. The main thing is that you teach an art skill to somebody else. Question 2 says, who are you going to work with? So consider, are you doing a one-to-one lesson? That's going to be very different to working with a group of people, which again will be very different to doing a video lesson where you won't even see the people. So put it down here for this question. What's your art Skillshare lesson going to be like? Who are you going to work with? The more detail you can get in here, the better your Arts Award Skillshare plan is going to be. So, how old are the people that you're working with? What is their experience in the art form that you're trying to teach them? Question 3 says, how are you going to share your art skills? So what we're looking at here is a mixture of strategies you're going to employ to try and help pass those skills on, as well as maybe a little timetable of your lesson. If your lesson is half an hour, what should be happening after 10 minutes, after 20 minutes, and so on. So some strategies can include starting with a presentation to get them to understand and move from there. It could be that you demonstrate the art skill and get them to copy and keep going back and forth until they've got it. A good strategy to employ is to build on knowledge as you go. In other words, start with something really easy that you know, no matter what the level of the pupil, they'll be able to do it. And then from there, build onto the next step and then the next step, so that by the end, you've taught the art skill. Question 4 says, what preparation or practice are you going to do? Even though this is about your students or pupils learning their art skills, what do you need to do to make sure that you can help them? So, if it's a particular piece of music that you want to teach, it might be a good idea to make sure that you know it really well. Otherwise, when they start asking questions, you're just going to be going, I don't know. Doesn't really help with teaching that skill, does it? If it's a particular skill that you wish to teach, maybe you need to revise that yourself so that you're confident when presenting. Is there anything else that needs to happen before that lesson? Do you need to gather some resources, instruments, technology? Are you going to be using, the overhead projector or screen? In which case, how are you going to prep to make sure that that happens before you are in the lesson? Question 5 says, how are you going to make it fun and interesting? Now please don't write, I'm going to tell lots of jokes and everyone will be rolling around the floor laughing the whole time. Oh ha ha, joyous news. No, that's not what the question means. What the question means is, what is it you're going to do that makes the whole learning experience enjoyable? Are you going to monitor the lesson so when you can see the students are getting frustrated, are you going to give them a little break? Is there anything particularly different about how you're going to present the information? Are you going to use different props? Are you going to use various sections of videos to inspire your students? What is it you're going to do to keep it from just becoming a long drag of a lesson? Question 6 says, what do you need for your Skillshare? Again, this can be really different and varied depending on what you're going to do. But generally you want to think of equipment that you're going to need. So if you're teaching an instrument, what instruments are you going to need? If you're painting, what sort of paint equipment are you going to need? If it's a photography lesson, for example, do you need more than one camera, or can you make the lesson happen on one camera? All these sorts of things. What are you going to need to teach your lesson? Technology is usually a consideration in any sort of art Skillshare or any sort of lesson. So think, what technology are you going to need? It'll vary depending on what you're trying to deliver as part of your art Skillshare. But usually there's a technology aspect there. Do you need a big screen to show diagrams on, for example? If you're doing a video lesson, you could plan the whole thing really well, then when you hit record, find out you don't have a microphone and no one can hear you, for example. So all these things, think of all the technology that you're going to use in your art Skillshare. Question 7 says, how will you know if it's been a success? Can they demonstrate the skill without you helping them? Is there any arts terminology that you wanted them to remember and you quiz them at the end and they get it right? Have you put in any sort of test or quiz to see if what you've taught has actually sunk in and they know it? Question 8 says, how will you get feedback from your students? Feedback's really important so that we know how they felt about their learning experience and you as an arts leader. Again, here you can collect their comments however you like, however you feel comfortable, however they feel comfortable. You could have a little guest book, they can write their comments down about your lesson. You could have them record to video or to audio what they thought of the good points of the lesson, the improvements that you could make. And if you've done an online video where you've shared it, just ask for some feedback in the comment section and record that there. Okay, and that's the end of this assignment. On completion of all these questions, you should have a pretty robust and thorough art Skillshare plan that you can now use to go and teach an art skill to some people. As always, if you're struggling with any of these questions or you're not quite sure of what things you want to do, please email us. We always want to help you. Email us info@medulla.org.uk or come to one of our live seminars, ask questions. Again, as I always say, questions might help someone else with their assignment, so don't hide them away, don't ever worry about asking anything. Good luck with the assignment and let's get some Skillshares done.